If you've been playing Wuthering Waves lately, you probably noticed that Brant is making waves as one of the most adaptable characters in the game. Whether you need a high DPS burst, solid utility, or a reliable support role, he seems to fit almost into any team. But is he really the most versatile character in Wuthering Waves right now? Or is the hype overblown? By the end of this video, you'll know exactly where Brant stands and whether he is a must try if you have not started playing him yet. Reason number 1, Brant's skill set and why it's versatile. How Changli and Sanhua make Brant even better. Brant thrives when paired with Changli and Sanhua due to the synergy between their abilities. Changli's fusion damage amplification makes Brant's attack hit even harder, while Sanhua's healing and resonance buffs improve Brant's sustain and combat uptime. Since Brant benefits from energy recharge for his healing and damage, Sanhua's ability to restore resonance energy helps him cycle his skills even faster. Typically, if you need a strong self-sustaining DPS, you might look at Jiyan or Encore. However, Jiyan relies on high-speed aerial combos, and Encore is a more selfish DPS without much utility. Brant on the other hand can heal the team while dealing strong sustained damage, making him more adaptable than a pure DPS like Jiyan or Encore. Here are some common mistakes players do and pro tips to maximize on Brant. So mistake number 1 is not pairing Brant with a fusion damage buffer like Changli. This leads to a big DPS loss. Mistake number 2 many players do is ignoring Sanhua's buff and using Brant as a solo unit when he excels in a team setup. Tip number 1. Use Changli's resonance skill first to apply fusion damage amplification before Brant attacks. Tip number 2. Rotate to Sanhua after Brant's ultimate to quickly restore his resonance energy and repeat the cycle. If you think that this is all Brant has to offer, this next reason will have you loading up Wuthering Waves immediately. Reason number 2. Brant's gameplay breakdown, how he's played plus his healing capabilities. Brant has a 4-hit normal attack combo that deals fusion damage. His Resonance Liberation Forte skills heals the entire team based on his energy recharge stat while also buffing his damage output. This makes him a hybrid support DPS capable of self-sustain and consistent damage output. If you need healing, most people turn to Baizi or Sanhua. While Baizi provides strong single target healing, Brant's team-wide heal gives him an edge in multiple units sustain. Unlike Sanhua, who focuses on buff, Brant can both heal and deal respectable damage at the same time, making him more independent in team composition. Common mistakes and pro tips. Mistake number 1. Building too much attack and ignoring energy recharge, reducing his healing potential. Mistake number 2. Wasting his resonance liberation at the wrong time, such as using it when teammates are already at full HP. Moving on to tips. Tip number 1. Stack energy recharge. It increases both Brant's healing and his ability to use his abilities more often. Tip number 2. Use resonance liberation reactively, such as after taking a big hit to keep the team alive during tough fights. Now before I get into the next reason why Brant is incredibly versatile, make sure to hit that subscribe button if you love Wuthering Waves. Reason number 3. How to deal more damage with advanced mechanics. Brant's Bravo mechanics allows him to accumulate charges that provide passive healing and shields. When fully charged, he can consume Bravo to enter a stronger state, boosting his damage output significantly. Characters like Calchado and Ling Yang focus purely on burst damage. However, Brant focuses both survivability and offense, meaning he can stay in the fight longer without relying on dedicated healers. This makes him a great sustained damage dealer compared to glass cannon characters. Common mistakes and pro tips. Mistake number 1. Not managing Bravo stacks properly, leading to wasted healing and shields. Mistake number 2. Ignoring energy recharge, which slows down his Bravo generation and ultimate uptime. Tip number 1. Time Bravo consumption right before a boss's big attack to take advantage of the shield. Tip number 2. Use energy recharge buffs from teammates to cycle Bravo stacks and Resonance Liberation more efficiently. Well, that's not all Brant has to offer. What I'm about to tell you next will help you decide whether you need Brant or not. Reason number 4. Forte skills. Brant's Forte skill, his Resonance Liberation, is one of the strongest hybrid abilities in the game. It heals the team, enhances his attack, and scales off energy recharge, making him incredibly self-sufficient. Most Forte skills, like Verina's healing or Encore's DPS boost, focus on a single function, healing or damage. Brant combines both, allowing him to fill multiple roles depending on the team's need. Common mistakes and pro tips. Mistake number 1. Using Resonance Liberation when you don't need healing, wasting its potential. Mistake number 2. Building pure DPS without considering energy recharge, reducing his overall utility. Tip number 1. Use Resonance Liberation when both HP and damage buffs are needed, not just at random. Tip number 2. Pair him with an energy recharge support like Sanhua to maximize his ultimate uptime. Reason number 5. Quickswap animations. Quickswap cancellation methods and how Changli will be a great fit. Brant benefits from Quickswap cancellation mechanics, which allows for seamless rotation between characters. His low animation lag and fast attack sequences make quickswapping highly effective, helping him stay on the field just long enough to deal damage and heal before switching out. There are multiple methods of quickswap cancelling that work with Brant. First one. Basic attack cancelling. You can cut the animation of Brant's basic attacks right before the final hit to swap between another unit without delay. Second method, skill cancelling. Brant's resonance skill can be cancelled mid-animation, which is useful for healing the team while preparing for a quick swap combo. Third method, dodge cancelling. Dodging at the right time resets his attack sequence, allowing for faster follow-up attacks when swapping back into Brant. How Changli enhances Brant's quick swap potential. Changli's kit makes her the perfect partner for Brant when it comes to quick swapping. Her stamina reduction passive allows Brant to extend his attacks before needing to swap out, making his quick swap chain smoother. Her attack speed buff further increases Brant's effectiveness, ensuring that his attacks land before he exits the field. Her burst damage on swapping makes her ideal for chaining into Brant's abilities, creating a fast-paced, uninterrupted combo loop. Brant's quick swap potential can be compared to Jiyan and Yinlin, who both rely on smooth transitions between characters for maximum DPS. However, Jiyan's swap cancels rely heavily on aerial moves, which can be harder to execute consistently. Yinlin has high burst potential, but her swapping timing is trickier compared to Brant, who allows for more forgiving timing and flexibility. Brant's versatility in quick swaps means he can fit into almost any team compositions, making him a high-value unit for players who enjoy fluid skill-based combat. Common mistakes and pro tips. Mistake number 1. Swapping Brant out too early, cutting off his healing and DPS potential. Mistake number 2. Not practicing quick swap cancels, which result in lost damage and longer downtime. Tip number 1. Use Changli's stamina reduction buff before swapping into Brant for extended attack chains. Tip number 2. Practice animation cancelling with Brant's resonance skill to execute faster rotation and pair Brant with units who have fast swap and damage, like Changli or Yinlin, to maximize quick swap efficiency. Reason 6. Pool value. Should you pool for Brant? Brant is one of the safest investments for players looking for a unit that can fulfill multiple roles, whether you need a healer who doesn't compromise on damage output, a character who fits into quick swap teams, a resonator with high uptime and sustain. Brant can deliver on all three fronts. Here's why Brant is a high value pool. High energy generation. Brant can maintain frequent skill usage without needing excessive energy regeneration gear. Scalability with future units. As new quick swap focused character gets released, Brant will remain a valued pick. Adaptable playstyle. Whether you are a casual or hardcore player, Brant doesn't require perfect execution to be effective. Meta comparison. Compared to Encore, another hybrid unit, Brant has more aggressive healing output, allowing him to sustain the team while staying on the offensive. More flexibility. While Encore works best in stationary setups, Brant's healing moves with him, making him better for high mobility fights. Compared to Verina, who is also top tier support, Brant trades buffing ability for self-sufficiency. He doesn't rely as much on team synergy, offers quicker healing burst, whereas Verina's buff require more setup and timing. Should you pool? Yes. If you want a unit that can do both healing and DPS without sacrificing damage output. If you enjoy quick swap mechanics and want a flexible character that works well with other fast attack units. If you already have Changli or Sanhua, Brant scales incredibly well with them. You might want to skip if you already have Encore and Verina at high investment, since they fill similar roles. You prefer dedicated DPS units as Brant is more of a hybrid. Common mistakes and pro tips. Mistake number 1. Skipping Brant because he isn't a meta DPS, when in reality, his healing plus quick swap potential makes him one of the most future-proof characters. Mistake number 2. Assuming he only fits in support-oriented teams. Brant works just as well in offensive quick swap lineups. Tip number 1. If you pull Brant, consider pairing him with Changli or Sanhua for optimal synergy. Tip number 2. Brant scales well with energy regeneration and cooldown reduction stats. Focus on building him to maximize his Forte skill uptime. Final thoughts. Is Brant the most versatile character in Wuthering Waves? Yes. Brant's ability to heal, shield, and deal consistent damage makes him one of the most adaptable characters in the game. With the right team setup, he can function as both a primary DPS and a sustain unit, making him more useful than traditional DPS characters. If you build him correctly and master his Bravo and energy recharge mechanics, Brant can outperform many specialized units in both damage and support roles. What do you think? Do you agree that Brant is the most versatile character right now? Let me know in the comments. If you like this video, you'll love this one where I break down the luckiest PV wishes.